Hello and welcome. We are so excited to welcome you to Living Cities Earth experience. Please enjoy the next few minutes, and we hope that this video and the ideas from our speakers will change your life to the better. Listen carefully. What particularly talks to you? What might have a chance to change your life and lives of people around you? Also, life of your place and our planet. We believe that you, the leaders of positive change, are those who define the future. So let's work together. And thank you for coming. Anyway, it's 5 o'clock Pacific time in the morning. In Europe, it's 5 plus 9. I guess it would be 2 p.m., right? The 14 o'clock in Amsterdam, Berlin, Zurich, and other places. And I pass it on to Eric and Stephanie. Thank you very much for joining us today. We have an interesting discussion and exploration of what our values are on the Happy Earth Day. Eric, pass it on to you. We have people watching us on YouTube, so I hope they could also participate if you give us.
Yeah, they can definitely participate. And I want to welcome everybody that's here and everybody that's watching live stream. My name is Eric Kohner.
I'm Stephanie Balzer.
Yeah, and like many of us, we are, co-founders of Living City Earth, and we're going to jump right into it. This is going to be a very, very interactive session, depending on how many people show up on Zoom, we may put people in breakouts, and we may not. We'll see how it works.
And can I just add a technical? I don't think I'm an administrator to break anyone out, but maybe Lev is or can help me.
We have our technical support people, so they would be able to do it.
Okay, great. Okay, wonderful.
All right, then we'll jump right into it. So finding your values on a Happy Earth Day is our title. And we want to start off by saying we get it. We know that we're in a critical time on Earth. And we also know that if you're either here on Zoom or if you're watching, we're making up that you're committed to being of service to our planet. And that there are some really, we all know it, there's some very, very serious consequences that are going on. And in this presentation, we're going to be asking you to focus on yourself. Both Stephanie and I are life coaches. And one of the things that a lot of my clients feel like if they're just focusing on themselves, they feel like they're being selfish, right? And an esteemed colleague of mine, Cynthia Lloyd Darst, who's a pioneer in the coaching world, she came up with a term called soulfish. So we're going to be asking you to be soulfish today in the pursuit of actually getting in touch with some of your core values as it relates to Earth.
Mm-hmm. I think to just jump in, Eric, I think what resonated so deeply when you said, let's think about this, is that one of the strengths and one of the really special qualities that I see about LCE is that visionary quality, that ability to, it's like we're shifting from problem-solving mode to really getting in touch with ourselves and our relationship to the Earth. And that's something that's really unique. I don't see other organizations doing that.
Very cool. So we're going to jump into a very, very quick visualization. So you can either turn up your cameras or whatever, but like take a deep breath. And if you'd like, close your eyes. and allow yourself to sink into your chair. And then take another deep breath and release whatever tension you're noticing. Just let it flow out of your body. And we want you to get in touch with the moment that you experienced in the past. And this is a moment where you felt totally connected and alive. A moment where something was going on for you on this planet that really spoke to you. You might have been on a mountain, or it could have been on the ocean, or out in a field, or it could have been on a basketball court, or a playground, or a park in a city or village that you live in. Somewhere where you are in touch with Earth in a profound way. And if a few instances come up for you, pick one for now and know that whatever you pick is exactly the right experience for this exercise. Where were you? What was the temperature? What do you see in your surroundings? What are the colors, the shapes? What's the touch of that experience? Get in touch with the smell. And if applicable, what's the taste of that experience? Allow yourself to have the sounds. And if there was anybody with you, get in touch with who they were and what they meant to you. Just allow yourself to re-experience that moment in time. And be aware of what made that moment so special. Now take a deep breath. And as you exhale, open your eyes and come back in the room, still experiencing that experience. And the people that are on Zoom, if you could turn on your cameras, we'd love to have you be part of this, because this is a very interactive session that we've created. So if you don't mind putting your cameras on, we'd love to see you.
It's very enriching, by the way. I just had so much in those 5 minutes. It's amazing.
Well, then let's go to you, Lev. Would you mind telling us your experience?
Well, it's very interesting. I'm sort of an introverted more type of a person, and so I thought, oh, other people will really talk, but I really have such a rich experience. When you suggested us to go into those sort of places and locations where we feel energized and connected, I had a experience going to our sort of country house. We have it on a large river, bank of a river, and it also connected with my childhood. And all the, not only the beautiful nature, but really the sense of peace and also sort of flow of life energy through me was such so vivid. I felt like I really moved there, not only in my mind, but really physically. So, and when I brought it back into my current experience, it also changed the way I experience the current the physical environment around me. That was very interesting. Thank you.
Great. So we're going to use you as an example. Do you mind if we're actually going to what we call mine for some values? You know, like a miner is mining for gold. We're going to mine for your values. So
could I just make one point? I also see
Sure.
how Alexandra is smiling, and I think she also had some amazing experience. Just wanted to mention.
We're gonna get to her. Trust me.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. In fact, we'll get to everybody on the call because there's not that many people here. And actually, we're gonna invite. Welcome. How do you pronounce your name? Burial?
Burial, yes. Hi there.
Oh, welcome, welcome. I don't know where, are you just getting on or did you hear the visualization we just did?
I'm just getting on. Unfortunately, I
Okay,
haven't been up until now, so I just quickly finished it and got in.
okay, well, maybe you can catch up. We're doing, well, we're basically, we took everybody in the room through a visualization where they got in touch with a moment that they were really connected and alive with this planet. Okay. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but think of a time where it just, you know, you were on Earth and something, you felt connected in some way. You got it.
So don't worry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Great. So
back.
I'm going to go back to Lev. Lev just told us his experience. So one of the things that I'm hearing is a real value of yours, Lev, is the peacefulness of the country. You know, that country house.
Well, to tell you the truth, that was a part of it, but more importantly was the richness of flow of life. That was more important for me.
Okay, so let's just call that flow of life. Flow of life is a value of yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also heard that family was there.
It's amazing. I didn't speak much about it, but yes, it definitely was in the field. Yes.
And you heard, Alexandra, you heard, what did you notice? What's important to Lev from what he said?
What's important?
Yeah.
You know, during this experience that I had right now, I think it's connected somehow with the previous meditation, whereas calm makes thousands around you positive, right? So during this meditation, I was in the forest, all right? It was just forest. So it's planet, it's Earth, and everything is alive, and that was dark. And a moon that has a light on me. And I felt calm at that time. So when you're really feeling calm, you are able to choose, or you have some kind of inner knowledge, what to do, where to go, how to be, and just manifest it what you have. So I think that this calmness is very important, and it connects us I mean, people and nature and earth, world, and everything is around.
So what's important to you then is that calm. That might be a value of yours.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And what I'm also hearing that I don't know, and by the way, I'm giving all of us permission to just use your intuition. You're going to be either right or not right. It doesn't matter. You'll let us know if this. But I also heard something about the moon shining on you. That that there's something there around. I don't know, connection to the universe. Something. What do you want to call it?
It was something bigger than me, definitely.
Yes.
Yes, and I think that somehow I can count on it. So if I'm lost, I definitely can find a way. I'm not alone. I think it's, yeah, I can say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The presence.
Yeah.
And I also, it's this kind of ties back to what Lev said too. There was a lot of listening, listening to the river, kind of listening in an intuitive sense to, what was coming down or what was around you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also for both of you, I'm just throwing this out again. There's something about being present in the moment.
Yeah.
That's really, that was really, really important for both of you. And that may be a value. Yeah. Yeah.
Moment. Yeah, exactly.
Farrell, you there? Farrell. I would love to hear your, moment on earth that you're in touch with.
So mine was very interesting. So I live in Scotland, but very recently, so as recent as a week and a half ago, I went to visit South Africa, where I'm originally from, where I was born. So I had a very incredible experience. So when I first arrived, I felt really like dissonant with this place that I was actually from, that I was born from. And I remember going to the sea. It's a beautiful area called Scarborough. And I put my feet into the sand and into the water. And it was like something like this, like as in I felt the earth connecting with me. Right. And in this moment, I remember just having tears and just feeling really shaky, and in the moment this happened, it was like this beautiful initiation of ancestors saying to me, right, you're home, but we know that you have to go, and the reason we needed you to be home was because we want to remind you of who you are.
Wow.
And it was, I don't know how to explain. It was something that has never happened to me ever before, right? But it was something that I stood there and it was like, we want you to remember the price that we have paid for you.
Wow.
And it wasn't ancestors only, of human ancestors. It was every ancestor that was saying, we have given you the best that we could because we picked you. We understood that you could do something with what we've given you. Or what we give you, and it's like, we're bringing you home because so the thing is that I have to give a little bit of a backdrop of going to South Africa, and I was supposed to go to trainings with big companies and doing all kinds of things like this, and all of it just didn't happen. That I went there for, and all of a sudden I just was here in this ground, and the ancestor said, and because I was looking at water started speaking to me as well and saying, hey, I'm one of your most ancient ancestors, and you are made up of, 75% of me. So watch me, look at me. You need to go be like me in the world. I can be in any different climate situation, and I become, I transform into what is needed for that environment. In other words, I can be ice, I can be a glacier, I can be, all these different aspects of what it was showing me, and said, but look at me right now. I can also be absolute peace. And anything that comes in my way, I don't push with harshness. I go around it. This thing that's in the way thinks it's winning, but I'm patient, and I take hundreds of years, but I keep shaping that thing, and I keep, morphing around, and so it was really for me that beautiful, and said, right, so we're igniting you, and we're asking you for that which is happening next in the world. We wanted you to come home so that you could go be the peace that we've intended for you. And it was like,
I'm actually here.
I was,
I'm sorry. Yeah, first of all, just listening to you is, and I don't think I'm alone. It's you've evoked so much emotion, and I'm actually hearing like home. Whatever home means to you is a value of yours.
And
I want to invite. Yeah, go for it.
And I also hear that sense of flexibility, of shape shifting.
Yeah. Lev, Alexandra, what values did you notice, Ferial? And is it Ferial? Am I pronouncing you correctly?
that's correct.
Okay, good. What other values are you noticing? Just from
Eric,
that story.
I really loved it when you said going back home, or going home
Yeah.
is the video. To me, it resonated so much. I would never think about it, but you pointed it out so precisely. And I don't know Ferial yet very well, but it gave me shivers really when you said this. And I also thought, well, it's important for every human to feel connected to whatever we see as our home, in spiritual or in
And
material way.
I was going to say that to you. So much as I went to the soil, which was my home, the experience was about, because humans, we have to come home.
Yes.
That's what
exactly. Yeah. And that's available to us at any moment in time. It doesn't matter physically where we are, but we need to connect to home, is what I'm hearing you say. I'm also noticing that, like, you value, I don't know how to put it. You probably help me here, but there's something around being connected to your emotional instrument, like being connected to your vibration. I just picked up something around that.
So obviously, that was just
do it in your words.
So that was just a moment, Eric, right? That this happened, but then it was actually the whole experience of being in South Africa for a month, and one of it was frequency. It was literally the thing that so it was like, it was about the embodiment of something completely new. Like, so if I can describe it, in the past we were looking at rituals, not that it is not important, right? But that we looked to those things to give us direction, as opposed, and give us that peace, give us those things. And it was like universe was telling me, you need to embody that. Now it's the embodiment of all of that. You don't need these instruments. You actually are the instrument. And as you move forward,
you are the instrument.
You change frequency wherever. So it's like, I can only explain that experience. Honestly, I've shared it with some friends, and Alexander Laszlo in particular, and I said to him, it was like a leveling up that I never experienced before. And it was this, right now, it is about us as the change agents in the world. The frequency we carry is more powerful than the work we will do, because it,
So well, let's call it frequency then.
yes,
That's it. That's a value of yours.
yes.
Great, great. So what we'd like to do next is we'd like to give all of you an opportunity to continue searching and exploring your values. And I'm thinking, you know, maybe we could split it up. Let's see, maybe Alexandra and Farrell, you could go together, and how about Levin and you, Stephanie?
Sure.
Okay. And we're all going to continue talking about that peak moment or whatever it is that you want to use in order to explore the values that you have for this planet. Because when we get back, we're going to pick maybe one or two of each of us and declare how we want to honor that value more for Earth Day and beyond. Okay?
So it's
So this,
Stephanie and myself, Ferry and Alexandra, right?
yes, and I may roam if that's okay with you. Do I have access to roam, Alexandra? Okay. And for everybody that's live streaming, try to do that for yourself. Come up with, you know, some core values that you have for this planet. Okay? So whenever you're ready, Alexandra.
I can, and I would love to get back to ferial experience. And I think that one of
you can't do. Okay, put me with Ferial then. Okay.
No. I think it's my value as well, and it's kind of similar or intersected, you know, in our small universe here. So I think that it's openness, all right? Because if your state is not open, you cannot feel, you cannot get this experience, you cannot touch it as deep as you did it.
Yeah.
And openness is also connected with calmness, as I mentioned, right? If you are not open, you cannot feel it. If you are closed and anxious and just focus on some negative aspects in your life or inside of you, it's definitely, you cannot get out of the world and to be connected with everything. That's what I feel and what I can say that. So openness for me also is a core value, openness and calmness. And what else can be? I think Lev can continue and I will get, back to my thoughts.
Actually, I wanted to ask if we can stay together, because in this case, people on YouTube could watch us. Otherwise, if we go to break rooms, they won't be able to. And also, it's such an interesting discussion to have in our group. So picking up from Alexandra, if I may, I also find that it's so interesting that we all know that values are very powerful, right, in our life. But very often we forget to really use them, to leverage our connection to our values, because maybe everybody is busy and there is so much stress in the world. But now that Stephanie and Eric invited us to get in touch with what we feel inside, and supported our sort of attention moving towards recognizing our values, it really changed. The world is the same, but my experience of the world is completely different. And this is so enriching. This is just outstanding.
Absolutely. And Alexandra, what you said about the openness. So I find this extremely important because so I love the work of a woman called Danila Meadows, you know, where she talks about having the capability and the capacity to continually transcend our current paradigms. And so that openness and the willingness for new, to understand. And I think also to leverage what Lev was saying, to understand, to see some of the things that that was in front of us, but to see it with these different new eyes, you have to have that openness. And so I think this is so important. So when we talk about, if we talk about, changing the world and changing the way, I think it isn't so much changing the world as it is changing our vantage point of it, because when we do, it all changes. And I think that comes back to the frequency.
Yeah. I also want to give all of you an opportunity to, we call this listening for values. So I'm actually going to tell you my experience, and I'd like you to reflect back to me, and then maybe Stephanie, you could do the same thing. Sure. I'm letting go of the breakout room. Just want to kind of let it go. Okay. Okay. All right. So for me, it was very similar to you, Leb. I went back to maybe one of my first, because I grew up in New York City. Okay. And literally, I think my parents were driving out to, the country, and they stopped on the side of the road, and it was just like a hill, right, with flowers in it. And I might have been 4 or 5 years old. And I was just running through this field, exploring different flowers. And I still remember like the smells, the freshness of it, and the wonder of this little boy discovering flowers. And then my mother, we were picking daisies, and my mother taught me this very simple game called She Loves Me Not, right? And I remember having just a fabulous time with my mother picking, the petals. And I think it was actually also my first experience of what love meant. Like I think I was that young that I didn't even know the concept of love. And so that was my, like moment that I thought of when I did this exercise.
So now we can, Eric, right, have the opportunity to think about, okay, what did we hear in your story, and what can we help illuminate as your values?
Exactly. So what did you hear? What did you hear are values of mine?
My I share. I actually heard an explorer. Yes. I heard adventure. So it did show me, we here to explore an adventure. And part of that adventure was also fun, right? So sometimes I'd also point us back to when we're busy trying to change the world, we get very serious. Maybe there's this aspect of fun that could make this so much easier, with much more ease, that we can do this when we're actually really having fun with this, right? And then the awe. So the awe is a very big one for me, because I think when we're in awe of things, there's something that we want to create, we want to do, so the wonderment of that child, what I heard is that, so it is that adventure, child, fun, or so is that a value we could?
Oh, definitely. It's a value of mine. Definitely.
Or like, and I live close to the beach, right? So every time I've trying to kind of learn to have this awe. I'm going to the same place, but can I see something different today? Oh, it's still so beautiful. That's the value.
Well, thank you. That's great. You named a plethora of values, that you reflected back. Thank you. Stephanie, what was your experience?
Mine. So I picked a different one than we talked about before. I picked, when I was growing up, I grew up in Arizona, and my family camped a lot, and we spent a lot of time outside. And I was right around, maybe like 12, 13. So sort of like becoming interested in adult world and, you know, kind of that tween experience. And we went to Death Valley, and it was on spring break, so it wasn't too hot. And we were in Death Valley for a week, and we camped there and saw all of the amazing things. And one night we went to the, you know, how campgrounds have like the fireside chat. And it was about crows and how smart crows are. And I just remember, like, I never forgot. Every time I see a crow, I think about that experience of all of the adults and all of the kids and everyone. Like, we went together to this, you know, and listened to someone talk about how amazing crows are. And so it was just that experience of everyone choosing to learn something because it was fun, because they just out camping. Here we all are living in a community in these different homes, and we went and heard about the crows and how amazing they were.
So what are you noticing? What are some values that Stephanie was acknowledging and expressing?
Well, I I don't know whether it's correct, of course, but I sensed and felt sort of this sense of wonder, really, how this big world around me and around Stephanie is rich and amazing and full of experiences. And the crows, to me, it was part of nature, but really part of life. So it's really the awe of life. So that's what really struck me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How's that resonating for you, Stephanie?
Yeah. Seeing something with new eyes. You know, here's these birds. They're just the black birds that fly around. And then to learn how intelligent they were and how, you know, how there's these people who know so much about them and they were giving it to us in a community was really cool. Yes, absolutely.
Stephanie, the word community came up for me.
Yeah.
Like, you loved the togetherness, the fireside chat. There was something special about that community thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, definitely a value of mine. And how the crows kind of live like that too, you know, in murders, which is crazy. Like, there was just so much silliness in those birds too. They're very silly. And we're silly with them. Like, why do we call a group of crows a murder? That's so funny, you know? Like,
This is wonderful. I'm also noticing just, you know, when we are giving ourselves permission to get in touch with what's important to us, and you know, communicating it to each other. Look what's also getting created in the space. It's like, you know, this is the first time I'm meeting you, Ferial, and you know, and I don't know Lev or Alexandra all that well, but I'm feeling a connection with all of you right now.
yeah.
You know, so there's you know, there's some universal connections that are getting created just by having this discussion. Where I'd like to take go ahead.
And connections to the similarities of our stories and the power of that, of the earth and the elements kind of speaking to us and how it resonates so much across our stories.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So where I'd like to go next is think of one of the values that came up from this visualization that you want to honor specifically for Earth Day and perhaps for the rest of your life. That's the invitation. Like, what's the value that, like, maybe it's the value that you have, but you haven't been honoring as much as you'd like to. And also the value that, you know, if you honored, could have that ripple effect. You know, let's talk about the session before about having the ripple effect. What's the ripple effect that you want to have as a climate activist? I'll go first, okay? Ferial, when you said explorer and fun, like the sheer fun of exploring and being like a lifelong learner. You know, I'm 70, I'm going to be 71 next week. I'm 71, but I want to be that 4-year-old explorer. Specifically where it comes to my participation in LCE. So that's my call to action.
Mhm.
Wants to go next?
I think mine would be frequency. Mine would be that I wouldn't. So something that Stephanie said about, I don't know if it was Stephanie, but one of you said something about that you experienced love. Or it was you, Eric. You said from your mom, you experienced love rather than you understood what it was. So I think there's so much that we don't understand. So frequency for me would be really that tapping into all of what I'm not understanding and leaning into it. And I think it's going to make the change so much when I am embodying those things rather than always trying to work it out.
Well, yeah, what I'm hearing is that like frequency, and these might be my words, so if it doesn't work, but frequency is you really trusting your body, like listening to the frequency that's happening in your body, as opposed to what you just said, having it all come from your head.
Exactly. It's like that complete connectivity into everything on this planet and
Yes.
getting our wisdom from there, for me anyway, rather than what I've learned in books and what is already there, because clearly that is not what's helping us. So it must be from somehow something else. And the answer is there, but it's in all of us. And so for me, it's that, you know, when you're studying, then you just get connected, and it's so that's the frequency that I'm talking about. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Lev, what about you?
Well, I would talk about aliveness and being fully alive. I have the sense that there is so much the universe is giving us. So when we just are open to channel this cognitive, spiritual, emotional, energetic, and all kinds of experiences, when we are present, not in the sense that we have to know something, but in the sense that we have to be a channel for the larger picture to go through us in a very particular ways of our life. So being alive to me is really being in touch with the higher perspective, but also being in touch with our circumstances. So sort of the sky and the earth combined together. And this feeling of aliveness, when the flow of energy goes sort of through us, and we can connect with other people and create alive circles and eventually alive sort of humanity and alive planet, I think that's a beautiful image I got from our experience here.
Fantastic. I get the operative word is alive, you know. Yes. Yeah. And Alexandra, what's the value you want to honor more?
I think curiosity. So that, yeah, it's also very close to every one of us, right? That experience, it's frequency, it's try, mistaken, then do again and get new experience, get new feelings, get new tools, and through all this way. And it also helps us to be open. As much we explore, as much we are interested in, as much we open and fulfilled with knowledge, with experience, with everything that we feel really throughout this way. So yes, curiosity.
Excellent. Thank you. Curiosity. And Stephanie.
I think maybe you guys can help me find the word for it, but there's something about, creating, trusting that something magical will happen when you bring the people together. What is that? Trusting in community, maybe?
So that's the value, trust. Go ahead.
Yeah.
There's a word called evolutionary convergence. It comes together. The life is smart enough to bring it together.
Yeah, because who knew that I would go to listen to a fireside chat that they have every night in campgrounds about crows and then be talking about it years later. And so it's knowing that when people come together like this, we don't get to say what their experience or value is. Our job is to create it and to participate in it.
I'm almost feeling like this very moment we're having our fireside chat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's something about trusting, creating the container for the community, and then letting that do the work. So I'm going to call it container.
Okay.
That is going to be what I'm going to label this value.
Excellent. Container. Okay. So we're at the tail end of this session, and I can't think of a better way to wake up at 4 a.m. It's been a pleasure. And I'd like to end this by, let's just go around and one thing that you're taking away from this session and one thing that you're grateful for. Who would like to go first? All right, Lev.
Well, I don't have enough words to express my gratitude, really. It was so powerful from the very first 2-3 moments of our session when you brought our attention towards our values in a very sort of skillful way. And then how this experience I described already, how it really fills our daily environment with magic. So I would like to thank Stephanie and Eric for letting this magic flow. And I feel very reconnected with my values. And I also learned about Alexandra's and Stephanie's and Ferial's and Eric, your values. So I feel both enriched internally, but also externally. Thank you very much. And I pass it on to Ferial.
Thank you so much, Lev. Equally, I am very grateful for the opportunity, firstly, to be connected to such beautiful humans, because it brings in me this incredible hope for where we're heading for the next part of this journey. So I just want to say thank you. And I'm not going to reiterate what Lev just said, but yes, what he said as well. And I would say that what I take away from it is actually a lot of what Stephanie just said. I mean, all of you, right, what you've said, but Stephanie, I think that word magic, I take that into the future of this and say, I want to trust life to take us where we need to go. And really, so back to the water of just leaning into the flow. So I thank you for what you shared, every one of you, but I take that away. Yes, there is engineering that is to be done. There is thinking, there is strategy, there is all of that. But I think in the end, I really just want to embrace the magic.
I love what you're saying. I'm feeling like that's magic is a value within all of us. Yeah. Alexandra, you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you very much. And yes, I'm also very gratitude to everything, to everyone, and to everything that happened today. And I remember your first, some words in the beginning when you said that focus on yourself seems very egoistic, right? But if we don't focus on ourselves first, how can we focus on the outside world? Right? Without knowing ourselves, without knowing our habits, without knowing our feelings, how we react on different impulses around us, how can we react on the outside world and how we can be connected with it and with everyone alive there, right?
Yes.
So we have to know what we feel, how we feel, and how we are going to feel, you know? So it's really very important thing in evolution of the personality, I guess. And now I have double confirmation that everything is connected. So
Yes.
people are connected and we
Yes.
can be connected. Like now we have a lot of opportunities. We have Zoom and we have never met each other, right? But we connected thanks to Live, right? And to Living Cities and Earth, and connected. And we are connected with similar values. So it's already something bigger than just connected. And we have an opportunity to discuss what we have and what is really similar. And we also enrich ourselves with the experience that we have right now in this environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stephanie.
What am I taking away? So there's a rooster that just moved into our neighborhood a couple weeks ago. So he's lived here just a very short amount of time. So I still register him all the time. So you guys don't know it, but a rooster has been participating as well in our session. And so I was, talking about crows, and then I have this other, bird who I hear all the time, and I actually kind of love it. I think I want to take away, that the, kind of echoing that what everyone has shared, like the earth is going to the world, the creatures in it are speaking to us all the time if we listen. So I am taking that away, that memories and experiences are all connected to our present, connected to how we show up and the work that we do in the world. It all becomes a part of that flow. So I want to take that away. And I'm grateful I'm grateful for Living Cities Earth, pushing this forward, moving it into action and taking the values and making it real. We made it real, and that's pretty exciting.
Wow. I'm so happy that a rooster was part of this session, because roosters wake us up.
Yeah, he has a lot to say. Yeah. Yes.
And I really think more than ever the earth needs waking up. So what I'm taking away is, so this is what I'm taking away. The learning that I'm getting is that this can happen. Look what we created in an hour.
Yeah.
It's not something that has to happen over a long period of time. We can create more of this whenever we want.
Yeah.
And I so appreciate the way all of you have participated with us in the last hour. I have a lot of gratitude also for being part of this new community. For me, it's new. I feel like, personally, it's the beginning of a really, really important part of my life.
Yeah.
You know, to be connected to you all. So thank you very, very much. And we are, at least for this session, there's going to be a whole lot more out. So if you're live streaming, we got 3 days of this. So hang in there. But we're complete with this particular session. Thank you. Lev, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Eric. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Alexandra, for joining from China, and Ferrell from Scotland. Thank you, everyone who was watching and stayed with us on the YouTube. And when you watch the recording of it, well, just let us share with you that this time was fantastic, really magical. And I agree, Eric, with what you have just mentioned, that we really can take this experience and make it part of our life. So, and we can change the world. And it's not just the nice words, it's the actual experience we can all share together. Thank you for this wonderful session. We'll have a 3-minute break and we'll start our next discussion on Living Cities Earth, actually, how we are changing the world and what our plans and what's the history, what's the team, and how you can join in 3 minutes. So 3 minutes break, and we'll see you very, very soon. Wow, you have made it. You just watched amazing insights from experts of Living Cities Earth ecosystem. We welcome you to the Living Cities Earth experience and hope that we are going for a long ride as we take care of ourselves, our communities, our cities, and our planet. Thank you and welcome.